up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days, where we do have a lot of topics to discuss. Firstly, Barcelona very interested in signing Jonathan Tah as a free agent this summer. Both Deco and Hansi Flick are very keen on signing the German defender, and talks have begun internally to decide whether or not to move in for him or not. Some other talks internally as well around the potential return of Òscar Mingueza, who of course had a brilliant start to his season with Celta Vigo, and Barcelona do have a hidden buy option for him when they sold him to Celta Vigo a few seasons ago. We'll talk about that. Also talk about some players that Hansi Flick refused to let go in the previous summer transfer market. I'll give you one of them, of course. It was Ansu Fati, but there were, of course, few others. We have some updates around Ferran Torres' future as well. Frenkie de Jong renewal alongside a Bernal renewal. Big injury updates around Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo, Ansu, Bernal, Frenkie, whoever it is, you name it. We have an update on that as well. Some internal house stuff as well around the General Assembly, Espai Barca, what kit we'll be wearing this weekend. Well, we'll see the black kit come out as well. But finally, we have to talk about the Fernandez twins, Tony Fernandez and Gidi Fernandez. And based on their performance last time for Barca Athletic, they have been absolutely exceptional around Barcelona. They are seen as the top prospects, the next best things coming out of La Masia, and they're already touching the first team, with Hansi Flick very keen on both players. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is by far the best replica jersey website on the market, and it's not even close. They have a variety of different items at the absolute best prices. They sent me 2 kits recently. First one is the retro Barcelona kit, the home kit, which I'm currently wearing right now, and also as well the second kit for that season in the blue edition. Oh my god, like, the stitching is fantastic, the quality is, superb. Feels like I have the actual, original kit for a fraction of the price. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get 10% off your order. That's BOY. Use it at checkout, and all orders above $80 as well will receive free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days, and we're first going to be discussing more reports coming out about how interested Barcelona really are in Jonathan Tah, who of course will be a free agent this upcoming June in 2025. Now, Mateo Merito has come out saying that Jonathan Tah confirmed in an interview that he will not be renewing his contract. Tah's future remains undecided, as he admitted that he is free to choose his next destination. Barcelona, alongside other clubs, are in the race. The Catalan club initially contacted for Tah at the end of the last transfer window, and will explore signing him for free transfer within their salary limit in the coming weeks. Now, following on to this as well, Fernando Polo of Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Deco and Hansi Flick in particular are in favor of bringing in Jonathan Tah. Among other reasons, they see his signing under free a must, plus his signing can be adapted within the club's economic parameters. Again, it's going to come down to who's going to leave in the center back department. Whether, Araujo does not choose to renew, same with Christensen, Eric Garcia has had enough, Kubarsi has an unbelievably flop season, Inigo is not going to renew. Their futures will heavily entail what's going to happen with Tah. Because if you think about it realistically, apart from Kubarsi, each of our center backs are on at least 100k a week. Christian is, Araujo is, Inigo is. So I think Eric Garcia is, a bit underneath that. I think he's around 80 or 70 because we've not touched his contract since COVID. So of the three, I would assume more of them would have to leave in order for Tah to come in. That way, Tah can just, assume that salary. I think as a free agent, of course, there's no transfer fee, so you want to have a bit higher in salary. I think Barcelona will need one of those center backs to leave. If you told me right now, Inigo leaves in the summer and Tah comes in, I wouldn't mind it. Again, the only issue I do have is Tah's right-footed, and all of our center backs are going to be right-footed. We have no left center back, versatility to have in the team, which I think Inigo really brings a strong way. Again, maybe we end up renewing Inigo for another year or so, and then we just bin the idea of Tah. many options can happen. So we'll see. Again, right now, early days, we'll wait and see what the club's planning is. I will say this though, if the club do go in on top, let's say we have a pre-contract agreement with him in like January or February, a center back is leaving. Whether it's Araujo, Christensen, Inigo, Eric Garcia, one of those four definitely will be leaving if Todd has come in. So wait and see how strong the interest is. How's Flick positioned as a Barcelona manager as well? Will he have a good season, okay season, poor season? That will all, of course, lead to entail if we're gonna back him in the summer or not. So wait and see. But again, the interest for Jonathan Tah as a free agent this summer is very, very strong from Barcelona. Now, another defender that has also been linked with Barcelona, and to be honest, I'm not surprised due to his roots and how well he started the season off, it is Òscar Mingueza. I just think about him during the Koeman season, how good he was, and the next season after that, how shite he was. But of course, he's had an absolutely sensational start to the season with Celta Vigo, and following this great start, Gabriel Sanz and Mundo Deportivo came out saying that as Barcelona were unable to sign a right back or center back this past summer, the club are closely monitoring Òscar Mingueza, but have not made any moves or any contacts for him so far. Barcelona acknowledged his impressive development, emphasized that he would fit in well at Barcelona because he knows the system inside out as he joined the club from the youth academy in 2007. But here is the kicker. Barcelona do have a €9 million buyback option until 2026. Now, when he mentioned this, I went back to my video, because I was doing YouTube at the time, where I made the here we go, done deal Celta Vigo with Mingueza. All I mentioned in that video was we have a 50% sell-on clause and that's it. No buyback option. Now, apparently this buyback option has appeared out of nowhere. Look, it's been 4 games, lads. Take a breather. Holy, I'm seeing people twerking for Mingueza. Madre mia, joder. Tranquilo. If he does this for a whole season, sure. Last season, he was mid for Celta Vigo. Had some good games, had some average games, had some poor games. It was all over the place. Sometimes he'd be out right back or left back, and sometimes he'd be on the bench. It's been 4 games. Again, he got called up for Spain. Congrats to him. Great call up. Of course, based on recent form, he should be tranquilo. I'm seeing people saying, yes, sign him. Yes, for $9 million, buyback if he has this whole entire season this well. Sure, if we're looking for a player of that profile, wouldn't mind that whatsoever. But take it down a notch, lads. It's been 4 games. Holy moly. The reactionary fan base of Barcelona is in a tier of its own. Now, with there being a $9 million buyback option, I was personally curious about what other players do Barcelona have a buyback option for, and all of a sudden, Mundo Deportivo did actually, in fact, release this information. We have buyback options for Òscar Mingueza, Stanis Pedrola, Nico Gonzalez, Francisco Trincao, Abde Zazelu, Mikel Fey, Ricky Puig, surprisingly. That one really came up to me as a surprise as well, and Carlos Aleñá. Now, out of these players, Nico Williams is the one that's... No, Nico Williams... Nico Gonzalez is the one that's screaming at me, but it is quite high at 30 million euros. If we do need to pivot next summer, we have no one else. He's, of course, doing very well with Porto. Apart from that, no one really else screams to me. Abdi, the fall from him has been crazy. I think Ricky Puig, that's kind of his vibe in LA, being one of the best midfielders there. I don't think he's at Barcelona level. The times have changed for him. Carlos Aleñá has been pretty mid since leaving Barcelona and joining Getafe. So, I mean, out of right now, I would say Mingueza and Nico are the two that only really pique my interest. Other than that, not really. Of course, we'll see how Mikel Fey does at Rennes. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the potential return of Òscar Mingueza. Would you be in favor for it or not? Would you wait and see how he does for the whole entire season? Would you take him as a decent option for Barcelona in terms of the squad depth? I will wait and see how things do develop. Of course, it will have a lot to do with how well Mingueza does during the course of the rest of the season. We'll see how he plays against Barcelona as well. I think we do face Celta Vigo pretty soon, so we'll see with Mingueza as Barcelona are keeping an eye on him as a potential option this summer. Now, along with Jonathan Tah, another free agent in which Barcelona are monitoring is Thomas Partey. I tell you what, lads, the 2025 free agent market is gonna be ridiculous. I mean, I just saw a list right now of people who are available. Madre mia, joder. I feel like Barcelona might sign 3 or 4 at this rate, especially with them being free. Anyways, Call of Side have come out saying that Thomas Partey is an option for Barcelona. His contract, of course, does expire at the end of the season. Thomas Partey right now is 30 years old. He will be 31 years old by the time the transfer market arrives. He's a good player. If we want to sign me on a contract like similar to Inigo, 1-year deal, 1-year option, we have absolutely no one else to get in the pivot. I wouldn't mind it per se. He is very injury prone, but on his day, he's of course a fantastic player. Not my first option, and honestly speaking, I would much rather have Joshua Kimmich over Partey. I know there's kind of two different profiles of midfielders. I know Kimmich will be costing much more in terms of wages, but I would much rather have Kimmich over Partey. But Partey's a cheeky little option that maybe no one is on the market right now, full diving in for, like, Mo Salah, Trent, and Van Dijks, and Kimmichs, and Taz. There's not going to be that much, teams interested in Partey. So we'll see how things do develop, but I think it will come down to mainly the situation of the market in terms of the pivot, what Barcelona are looking for, if Barcelona even want to pivot to begin with. But keep your eyes on Partey, as he will be a free agent on this option this summer, unless, of course, he doesn't renew his contract with Arsenal. Let's discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days. Now, very quickly, a player who left Barcelona a long time ago, but we do have some money that we are pending for his previous sale last summer, is, of course, Jean-Clair Todibo, who joined West Ham on loan with an option to buy. But Fabrizio Romano did mention that it's basically a buy obligation, because the clauses in order for it to become mandatory purchase are very, very, very easy, and everyone involved, Nice, West Ham, Todibo, everyone expects the deal to be finalized in the summer officially, which does mean if he is sold for 40 million euros, of course, Barcelona are entitled to 8 million euros from that transfer, which is pretty hefty money, if you do say so ourselves. Of course, I think signed Todibo for like 2 million, and I think we sold him for like the same amount, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, the selling clause did, of course, come into effect this past summer. We won't see the money, of course, until the transaction is official. So keep your eyes next summer. You can already add to the books that we will be getting 8 million euros for the sale of Jean-Clair Todibo from Nice to West Ham. Now, a player who a lot of culés would have, loved Barcelona to sell last summer is, of course, Ferran Torres, but there has been now confirmation that there was really no interest in Ferran Torres this past summer. Mateo Morito came out saying there is no confirmed information that teams like Newcastle United even made an inquiry about Ferran Torres. Of course, I talked about on the channel, I think John Romero mentioned it, that there was a bid of 15 million euros from Newcastle, but Mateo Morito here is saying that, look, not even an inquiry was made from any club for Ferran Torres during the past summer transfer window. He also mentions that Ferran Torres has consistently expressed his desire to stay at Barcelona, and any team that contacted his agent was told he was not interested in leaving, which is likely preventing any further discussion with Barcelona. So Ferran Torres just shut everything down completely, wouldn't even take a hint or a peep from anyone, which of course made his departure very difficult. Now, I believe Ferran Torres' contract expires in 2027. So we're going to have to start looking at either renewal or selling him this summer. Of course, this summer he'll enter into the final 2 years of his deal. That's now his kind of peak value to sell or renew. Look, I mean, everyone would sell him. He balls out for Spain, but he's just mid for us. He'll have one good game where, shark off the bench, whoop-de-freaking do. But when he starts and when it matters the most, he's crap. I mean, he had a good start at Barcelona the first 6 months, but we were just so crap. Anything semi-decent was looking like prime Messi. Now we have a decent squad, decent team. Now he has to perform, and he's just not. I mean, he's a very versatile forward, but versatile how? He doesn't provide really anything for us in any position. I don't think the style that Flick is playing really suits Ferran Torres too much as well, so we'll wait and see. Maybe if he gets really lack of minutes this season, he will look and consider an exit, but as of right now, he's absolutely adamant that he's not going to be leaving Barcelona. He's not even listening to any sort of offers that could be coming his way. Now, aside from Ferran Torres, there was, of course, interest in other fringe squad players for Barcelona, but this time it was the other way around. Instead of the player rejecting the move, it was the club, and that is in regards to Inigo Martinez, Eric Garcia, and Ansu Fati. Luis Rojo from Marca came out saying that Hansi Flick prevented the departure of the trio of Eric Garcia, Inigo Martinez, and Ansu Fati in the summer transfer window for various reasons, most notably injuries and the inability to sign replacements for them. So there were, of course, genuine interest in these three players, as we already know, but it was Hansi Flick that made sure that these three players ended up staying at Barcelona. Of course, with Ansu, nothing really materialized at all. There was some loan offers at the beginning, but once Barcelona rejected those and he got injured, nothing came back after that since. But there was some strong interest for Inigo and Eric. Firstly, on Eric, Fernando Polo of Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Porto tried to sign Eric Garcia on the last day of the transfer market, but Barcelona refused to sell him due to the injury of Andreas Christensen. Also, the Girona sporting director or CEO, one of the two, came out saying that, yeah, we were interested in Eric Garcia the whole entire summer, but in the end didn't materialize. Marc came out confirming this as well. Luis Rojo, he also said that, yes, Porto did make an approach, but he also mentioned that Eric Garcia was basically heading to Girona this past window. Michel wanted him, and they asked Barcelona for the player, but there was no way, first of all, because of Araujo's injury, but also because of Eric's versatility to play as a pivot. Since there was no fair play to bring in a signing and Christensen was injured, Flick did not let him leave. So the club are kind of open to it, saying that, look, if Eric Garcia wanted to leave and we had, players fit and stuff, sure, you can go. Because at the end of the day, he is a squad player. But with us, of course, suffering key injuries at the beginning, we need Eric Garcia for the first half of the season. I think he'll get a lot of minutes coming up against Girona, Villarreal, Monaco. I think he'll be playing some decent amount of minutes, especially with those key players like Pedri, Lamine Yamal, and those kind of forward and advanced positions playing a lot during the international break. I think Eric Garcia will definitely come in soon. And the same can be said as well for Inigo Martinez. Luis Rojo came out saying that Barcelona rejected an offer of €5 million from an Arabian club for Inigo Martinez at the end of the transfer market. Getting $5 million for Inigo would have been sensational. If only Christensen and Araujo were fit, that would have been brilliant, stunning business in Barcelona. Again, you get rid of his wages and you bring in $5 million. Oh, that would have been nutty. But of course, with the injuries that we did have, it would have been very, very risky to sell Inigo. Of course, now bringing anyone relying on the likes of Andres Cuenca and Sergio Dominguez for a whole half of a season, which again is a lot. You can rely on these players maybe for a month, but a whole half of the season, bloody hell. Now, Gabriel Sanz and Mundo Deportivo also mentioned about a potential renewal for Inigo Martinez, saying that Inigo Martinez's contract expires, of course, this upcoming summer in July 2025, and it will be automatically extended for an additional season, and he will have a release clause of €400 million if the defender plays 60% of the team's total matches this season for at least 45 minutes. If he doesn't meet these numbers but continues to perform well, the club could maybe still offer him a direct contract renewal. Oh my god, we might see this is why it complicates things for Jonathan Tah as well, because if Inigo's contract automatically renews, he's gonna be sitting on that fat wage of $130K per week. How are we gonna get rid of him in the summer if we want to bring in Tah for free? Look, with Inigo, I think again 60% of the games is of course a lot. Will he be able to do that all in the first half of the season? Probably not. I think once we hit January, February, March, and Inigo is still regular in the team, it's probably done and dusted. By the time he does reach these numbers, the media will be on it and already confirm it. You can probably watch it as well. So far, he's played all the minutes, essentially. He played 90 minutes, I believe, against Valencia on the opening day. Second game at home against Bilbao, he started. Third game against Rayo, he started. I mean, he's already 4 for 4 for the season. He's played more than 45 minutes in all those halves as well. So there is that clause. Of course, Lewandowski has something very similar to this as well. So we'll see how things do develop with Inigo again. I think he's a good player. Left foot's always very nice as well. Strong in the air, pure defender. Maybe not the best on the ball, but can still do a job, and we'll see how he does progress this season, as there is, of course, certain conditions in his contract that can automatically renew his deal. But overall, most important thing is that Flick was the main one preventing these three players, Eric Garcia, Inigo, and Ansu Fati, from leaving the club this past summer. Now, speaking on contract renewals, we do have a few more contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. First one up after, of course, Inigo. It's your boy Frenkie de Jong. Now, Mateo Merito has come out saying that at the start of the transfer market, Bayern Munich had Frenkie de Jong on their shortlist, but initial contacts never developed into a formal negotiation. His recurring ankle injury also impacted any potential move away from Barcelona. Now, de Jong's focus is on returning to the pitch and performing at the best for the club. Barcelona still aims to renew his contract that expires, of course, in 2026, while likely pushing for a salary reduction. Manchester United, meanwhile, never pursued Frenkie de Jong this past summer, having targeting Manuel Ugarte for the whole entire summer instead. So pretty much Bayern Munich, knocked on the door maybe a little bit, but nothing really materialized whatsoever. Again, the club Barcelona still want to renew his contract, and I still think that is the correct move, but under what conditions is the main thing. Again, you can blame Frenkie de Jong for not answering the club, and I certainly do so as well, but no one else has as well. Pedri has a renewal on the table, it's nothing. Pedri, there's been initial contacts, nothing. Araujo, nothing. Frenkie de Jong, nothing. I don't know what their game plan is. I don't know what the club want. I don't know what the players want. No one's talking to the club. We're only renewing youngsters. Your Kubarsis, your Lamine Yamals, your Marc Bernals, your Tony and Gilly Fernandez. Those are the easy renewals because they all, just love the club, right? When these big players in their prime of their career, it takes a bit more time. So, I mean, it's not just Frenkie, it's everyone else, and I understand he is on a lot of wages, but it's always that he was dupe. I mean, the man was earning basically nothing in the first few years at Barcelona, especially during COVID as well, which probably would maybe have been tough for him and his family, not making that much money, living a big luxury lifestyle, and trying to comply with that. And now everything's being pushed to the end, and he's being scapegoated a bit. I know on paper, $700,000 a week gross looks pretty bad, but when you look at the context behind it, again, it doesn't really cover up for it, but it does have, a certain explanation. We didn't just give Frenkie de Jong $700K gross a week. Of course, that would have been absolutely ludicrous, but man was earning like nothing for the first 3 or 4 years of his contract, and now everything's pushed to the end as he did to help the club. Now he's being scapegoated. I think it kind of sucks for Frenkie, but we'll see how things turn out in regards to his return. Of course, his return will definitely be marking a lot in terms of his future, but for now, it's quite clear no real interest for Frenkie de Jong this past summer, and again, Barcelona still want to renew his contract. But the most advanced and likely contract renewal that will be happening at Barcelona is the renewal of Marc Bernal. Now, Gabriel Sanz and Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Marc Bernal's new contract could officially announced in the coming days. He will have a first-team player contract, meaning a significant financial improvement for the player, but he won't be registered for the first team quite yet. The clause for the 3 optional year in his contract won't be activated either. Of course, Bernal renewed his contract before preseason for I think 1 or 2 years, but with the option of 3 years. So they're just going to give him a brand new contract since he's going to be 17 and not 18. It will be a B team contract, but with first team numbers, and then once he's 18, it'll automatically renew into a first team contract, similar to what Barca and Lamine Yamal have done. And Fabrizio Romano also confirmed this as well, saying that Barcelona is set to activate a new deal for Marc Bernal with everything confirmed. His add-ons for this season will now be included in his salary. Laporta and Deco are fully back in Bernal after his long-term injury. Now, of course, bit of a risk from Barcelona because with the ACL injury, you can come back great, you can come back better, and you can come back worse. So bit of a gamble, so we'll see. I think this is the correct move. We should have done this with Gavi. I think we tried to do this with Gavi, but since he's such a high stake player, it's not that easy to renew him that quickly, opposed to Bernal, who's just happy to be a Barcelona player, and he just did his ACL, so he's going to be a bit emotional. First team contract, your dreams coming true. Sign of the thing. It's a bit easier than what Gavi was when he tore his ACL. So we'll wait and see with Marc Bernal. I do expect it to be done by at least the end of this month, maybe even announced as well. There is progression. This has been the main talk around Barcelona for quite some time now, and we'll wait and see when we get the official announcement. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. We do, of course, have quite a bit following the international break. We're going to start, of course, with Marc Bernal, who finally undergone his surgery yesterday on his ACL, around 2 weeks since actually tearing his ACL, which shows how inflamed that area was for him. But the club officially announced that the operation was successful, and they also released a timeline as well, saying that he is expected to be recovering in about 12 months, so a year. Will he be fit for preseason next season? Probably not. He'll probably come back, I would say, around this time after the first international break next season, but I expect him to at least get the medical green light. So, speedy recovery for Marc Bernal. Hopefully he comes back better than he was when he got injured. That's all we can really ask for at this point. But again, the operation finally done, successful. He'll be out for a year from yesterday's point, so we'll see him back in September 2025. Next injury update is on Ansu Fati, and some fantastic news. He did take part in some of the training yesterday. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Ansu Fati completed part of the training session with the first team players yesterday. Flick is convinced the player will be ready for the upcoming match against Girona. So half of the training on Monday. By the time Friday and Saturday hits, he should be undergoing the full training. I will say this: if this motherfucker gets injured again before that squad list comes out for Girona, I'm never speaking on his name again. But he's hopefully going to be back soon, and hopefully can have that impact that we all know he has the ability to do. Next update is on Frenkie de Jong. Now, Xavi Navarro has come out saying that if Frenkie de Jong does decide to undergo surgery, which is the method the club right now does prefer, he will not play again in 2024. Even worse, he will not be back until February at this point. He will be out for about 4 months if he does end up doing the surgery. Again, what I say about Frenkie de Jong 2 weeks ago, if he's not back in training before the Girona game, he's toasted. But now Tuesday, Ansu Fati's back, but Frenkie isn't. So he's getting the surgery recently. I mean, let's just admit that at this point. It's been nothing short of an embarrassing how Frenkie de Jong has gone by this recovery, how Barcelona have been so lenient as well. I mean, he did this ankle injury in April in the Clásico with Fede Valverde. He's now had the Euros canceled the whole entire summer, and all this just to do surgery. If he did the surgery by April, May, June, July, he would have been back for preseason. But now he just wasted, the first half of the season to try and do the conservative treatment, which again does suck. This is why the club needs to have some sort of power. Of course, Ansu Fati did conservative, then did the surgeries again, so he wasted a year of his career. So the club really needs to, have some kind of veto on these players' decisions. Because at the end of the day, we don't own the body, of course, of the players. His body, his choice, but we do pay him. So I guess we should have some sort of say. But anyways, we'll wait and see with Frenkie. I think we're definitely leaning towards surgery at this point. Some other injury updates in-house and recently with Barca Athletic with Sergi Dominguez. He did not play in the last game where, of course, the Gilly and Tony Fernandez had a great game. We'll talk about that later on. He was in the starting lineup, but then had some discomfort in the warm-up, but Sport came out confirming this day that he was fine after the game, just didn't want to start him as a precaution. Also, the manager, of course, of Barca Athletic, Alberto Sanchez, did confirm this, that Dominguez is fine, just a bit of a knock, didn't want to take any risk, bit of discomfort, but he should be good to go for Flick's services coming up. And hopefully the same as well for Andreas Cuenca, the other defender for Barca Athletic, with Sport coming out saying that good news with Andreas Cuenca, who was subbed off in the Barca Athletic game, which seemed to be due to a serious injury. Fortunately, it all ended up in a scare. He suffered muscle fatigue, and the test ruled out any other setbacks. There was a bit of concerns there, like, okay, this man's like basically 6th choice center back at this point with Araujo and Christensen being out, but he looks to be okay. He could be, of course, available. He's been on the bench for a lot of the games, has not come on or warmed up, but just an option in the event things happen. Did do all right in preseason as well. Finally, we do have some updates around the Spanish national team in regards to Dani Olmo, who did leave camp early, did not play in that match against Switzerland, which of course is fantastic news, and all reports are coming out saying that he will be 100% fit for Girona. Luis Rojo from Marca, Ferran Martinez, even Catalunya Radio, TV3, everyone's saying that he will be 100% fit for the game. Hopefully that is the case. He was taken off as a precaution. Also, Pedri, by the way, did not play the first game against Serbia. He was going to play, of course, second game against Switzerland, but got subbed off. He was subbed off around the 25th minute due to a red card. So he was tactically chosen to be removed for a center back to come in. So that's, of course, fantastic. And I believe Lamine Yamal only played 45 minutes against Switzerland, but there is still some worry around Barcelona about how harsh the tackles have been on Lamine Yamal in recent games as well, both La Liga internationally. Look, he is 17. He is, as young as you can get, so he's going to be as fresh as you can get, so you can rinse him now, but of course, there's massive risk. Out of Girona, Villarreal, Monaco, one of those games he cannot start. I mean, you have to have some sort of player caution at this point. He's played way too many minutes to start off the season after coming off a high, intense summer as well. Remember, he won the Euros, off for 3 weeks, chucked into the Joan Gamper because we were losing for 20 minutes, started against, of course, Valencia, started against Athletic Club, started against Vallecano, and then, of course, started against Valladolid. He needs some rest. Would you rest him against Girona? Probably not, because it's going to be a tough game. Villarreal, they're all going to be away from home, so they're all going to be difficult, but I'm thinking Villarreal away, rest him up, because he just can't. Oh my god, if he gets injured, we're going to be, it's going to be a circus. So we'll wait and see on that. But those are the updates, some positive ones in regards to, Ansu and the center back from Barca Athletic, and Dominguez and Cuenca, and of course Olmo. Bit of, controversy around Lamine Yamal and Frenkie de Jong. We'll wait and see how everything does develop. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. First, we do have an update in regards to the annual General Assembly. Now, Fernando Polo from Mundo Deportivo came out saying the date for the annual assembly of delegates, where members can voice their concerns and questions to the current board of directors once a year, is yet to be decided. The format and date of the assembly should be decided in the next board meeting, which is scheduled for September 26th. It's widely expected that the assembly will once again be held virtually. Some people have suggested a hybrid solution, continuing with virtual participation, but allowing any delegate who wishes to attend the assembly in person. I believe last year's assembly was the day of the Clasico, if I'm not mistaken, or the day before, when we had the Rolling Stone sponsorship, when it was at the Montjuic. So again, this is what you when you're not state owned, you have to do these kind of things. And again, he gets asked questions. Laporta and all the other board members as well, the ones that are even involved around Espai Barca, were asked questions last time. I think, yes, Deco was there to answer some questions. Same with Laporta. Everyone, keeps it open and honest. So we'll see how that turns out. See if we get any more inside scoop, inside developments out of the previous, of course, transfer window, and the transfer windows to come as well. I would expect this to be around somewhere in October, but when, of course, is unknown. Speaking of the boardroom, of course, one of the main things they have to watch out for that have been developing a lot over their tenure in the new presidency is, of course, the Espai Barca project. Now, we've been told multiple times that we're going to play again at some point this year at the Camp Nou, the Spotify Camp Nou, should I add. I've been very pessimistic about it. I still am, as you can see from the caption there. I said on track for now, but the reports are still all positive. Ferran Torres Sport came out saying the deadline that were set for the Spotify Camp Nou workers are being met, as is the budget as well. The forecast remains that Barcelona will return to the Camp Nou before the end of this year with the capacity, of course, of 64,000. That's, of course, 20,000 more than the Montjuic. You're back at home, so the transportation and, accessibility for all the local fans will be much, much easier as well. A lot of people don't want to go to the top of the hill and go to Montjuic, which is crap stadium. The fans are so far away from the pitch as well. I see live pictures of the Camp Nou every day. How it looks, how things are developing. I cannot see this being ready by the end of this year. I genuinely cannot. Again, the club, if they can pick the game to come back for the Camp Nou, it would be against Atletico Madrid, I think on like December 22nd or something like that. If they could pick as well, Gavi comes back off the bench. Oh, wait, the whole Camp Nou cheers Gavi. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. I don't know, man. I'm very pessimistic about it. I would be shocked. I still think, again, end of January is where I think we will be returning. I've been very consistent on that. I've said a lot during the past few months. I think the first game of the round 16 of the Champions League, which again, end of January, beginning of February, I think that's when the club will return to the Camp Nou. Definitely, of course, this season 1,000,000,000%. But by the end of this year is where the pessimistic, of course, from my perspective comes in. And you might feel different. Let me know the thoughts in the comments below. But again, it's very clear from the club. They've been communicating this in person through the media that they will return to the Camp Nou by the end of 2024. Now, it's mainly been getting a lot of attraction and attention around Barcelona over the past few days has been the Fernandez Cousins, Toni Fernandez and Guillermo or Gilly Fernandez. They, of course, played for Barça Athletic this past weekend, and Toni Fernandez got 1 goal, 1 assist, and he, of course, assisted his cousin, Gilly Fernandez, who got on the score sheet as well. Now, Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that Toni and Gilly Fernandez, the 16-year-old cousins playing for Barça Athletic, are emerging as top prospects for Barcelona. Both, of course, scored the other day and were part of the US tour under Hansi Flick. They're seen as future stars for their first team at Barcelona since 2018. They recently extended their contract until 2027 despite interest from many other European clubs. I've been more impressed by Toni Fernandez. I've heard a lot about Gilly Fernandez over the past few years. Since 2021, I've been told about Gilly Fernandez, how much he's doing, how well he's doing. I only heard about Toni a few months ago, just because of the fact he was cousins with Gilly, and that Xavi called him up to a training session out of nowhere. That was a big surprise. And of course, Flick gave him a lot of minutes in preseason as well, so he's been surprising me the most, Toni, because he's come out kind of, low key. It was kind of Gilly having the big limelight. He's the next best thing since sliced bread, all that sort of stuff. But seeing these two connect and play for Barça Athletic, it looked like they were just playing at the park in with the cars and getting the ball under the car and stuff like that. Like, it just felt like they were vibing at the point. The goal from Toni Fernandez, the bicycle kick, was absolutely sensational as well. The control and finish by Gilly for his goal as well was sensational. These two are going to be special players. Hopefully, there's not only going to be room and opportunity for them to flourish in the first team, but also they have the ability to show it on a consistent basis as well. But keep your eyes on these two lads, especially this season. If we do get injured, of course, God forbid we get any injuries, these two players are definitely next in line in regards to, teetering between the Barca B team and the first team. Now, speaking on developing players, someone who's been very, very important since Hansi Flick was appointed as the manager was, of course, Thiago Alcantara. He only signed a contract just for pre-season. Following that contract finishing, he, of course, left Barcelona to deal with stuff in England, tax issues, or whatever the case may be, but he's always had the door open to return. I think if he could choose, barring any other circumstances, he would have continued as well, but there's always been this idea that he will come back around the new year. Alex Pentel came out saying the possibility of Thiago returning in Hansi Flick's staff is already being considered. So again, he kind of had a trial period. Everyone liked him. I think Thiago enjoyed it himself as well. So coming back is definitely on the table. We've known about this, of course, since he left at the beginning of the season. So we'll wait and see how things do develop. I don't think he'll be very, very much a huge game changer now, since the season's kind of well underway, but he'll definitely provide that different aspect. The, of course, communication between the Flick his coaching staff and the players will be huge. His experience as a player as well, who's not only played for Barcelona but played well, of course, came through the youth ranks alongside his brother Rafinha. I think they're brothers, I'm thinking cousins now because about Toni and Gilly. But again, everyone will welcome back Thiago, so we'll wait and see how things do develop in that regard. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for an end off this video is in regards to what kit Barcelona will be wearing this weekend against Girona. Will it be the new away kit, or will it be the typical La Señera kit? Is now being reported by Memorabilia on Twitter that it will be the La Señera kit. He's come out saying that Barcelona will play in the La Señera kit this weekend against Girona. The black kit will most likely be used for the first time against Monaco in the Champions League midweek. We're playing a Catalan side. We're of course going to wear the Catalan kit. The fact that people need reports for this just shows incompatibility beyond belief. Whether we had the black kit, the home kit, the purple kit, the green kit, the burgundy kit, does not matter. When you're playing a Catalan side or a Clásico, the club tend to lean towards picking the stripes of where the region of Barcelona is from, of course Catalonia, and of course in lines with the La Señera kit. So as expected, when we go against Espanyol away from home as well, we're going to probably wear the La Señera kit as we tend to do, so that's no surprise there. But the black kit will be debuting this midweek against Monaco in the Champions League. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me hear your thoughts on everything we discussed. The main thing, obviously, of course, is your thoughts on Ta as a free agent. Are you in or out? Mingueza's return as well. What are your thoughts on that? The injury concerns around Barcelona. I think everyone will be hopefully recovered by the end of the September international break. And find your thoughts on the rising stars of Toni and Gidi Fernandez. And do you expect them to be first team players, and how long as well? In the next year, 2 years, next few months? Leave me all your thoughts down in the comments below, and of course make sure you guys subscribe down below as well if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.